Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Essential Training for Incident Reporters. In this video we discuss what types of incidents should be reported, how to enter incident reports using the Uploads app and assign it for review, provide tips for writing good incident descriptions, and provide information about how to identify contributory factors involved in incidents. So we will start talking about what type of incident should be reported. An incident is an event that results in an adverse outcome or near miss. An adverse outcome is an incident that results in a negative impact, so people being injured or becoming ill, experiencing psychosocial episodes, coming back late from a program, or going missing should all be reported. Adverse events also include incidents that result in equipment or environmental damage that occur during LOA programs. Near misses are incidents that have the potential to cause an adverse outcome but fail to do so. For example, during a rock climbing activity, a leader notices that a participant's carabiner was not locked. If the student had fallen, this may have led to a serious injury. I'll now demonstrate how to enter an incident report using a fictitious incident. But before I do, there are a few features I'd like to show you. Help icons have been included to provide further explanation where required, and edit buttons have been included to help you navigate back through the report and update information as required. Also, organisations may add additional questions to collect organisation-specific information, such as job codes, etc. So please contact your Upload System Administrator if you need clarification on any questions not covered in this video. So the example incident we'll use today is provided on the screen. Very briefly, a teacher on an activity with their students experienced lower back pains while supervising a bushwalking activity. They aggravated a pre-existing injury after walking a long distance. The Uploads incident report is divided into the 6 sections shown on the screen. I will describe each section as we go. The first section of the report collects information about the characteristics of the incident. So this includes the date, time and location of the incident, the type of the incident, and the actual and potential severity of the incident. The type of incident asks if the incident was a near miss or if it resulted in an adverse outcome. The list of possible outcomes is provided for you to choose from. If there were multiple outcomes, you should select all that apply. You are now asked to provide a rating of the actual and potential severity of the incident. Actual severity is based on what actually happened. You need to provide the rating based on the consequences, treatment, and evacuation required during the event. Potential severity is based on your perception of the most likely or probable outcome should a similar event occur in the future under similar circumstances. So you should consider what were the likely consequences for the people involved and what treatment and evacuation requirements would have been required. To help you select the most appropriate severity rating, the help icon provides example consequences and adverse outcomes for each of the severity ratings. Once you have selected a severity rating, you can check that your rating is correct by referring to the green text to see if the consequences, treatment, and evacuation methods are similar to the outcomes of the incident being reported. So for our example, we will select a moderate actual and potential severity rating. The next section collects information about the activity being conducted at the time of the incident, the program type, and the number of people involved in the activity. So here we enter the activity name, the program type, and the number of people involved in the activity associated with the incident. Remember to use the help icons for definition for program type and role descriptions. If you have selected a near-miss, equipment or environment damage incident type, you will not be required to complete the WHO section. The WHO section collects information about people adversely impacted in the incident. For each person adversely affected, you need to provide their name, age, gender and role. As our incident involves an injured person, the app has displayed the injury type and injury location fields. So here we select that the teacher experienced a muscular injury type and select the lower back region. This section will change if you have selected an illness injury type. For example, the app will ask you to select an illness from the list. So you'll need to indicate if the adverse outcome was a pre-existing condition. That is, has the person experienced the injury or illness before undertaking the activity? So here we click yes, the teacher's injury was a pre-existing condition. For injuries and illnesses, you are asked to provide information about any treatment received by the affected person and indicate if evacuation or emergency services were required. So in our example, we are unsure if the teacher received first aid, they were evacuated via vehicle, emergency services were not required, and we are unsure if they required external medical treatment. If there was more than one person adversely affected in this incident, for example, two bike riders collided and they were both injured, you can enter additional people by clicking on the Add Another Person button. We are now up to the description section. Here you are required to describe in your own words what happened prior to, during, and immediately after the incident. It is important to provide as much detail as possible, as this will help you identify contributory factors and interactions between factors. Please do not include identifying information in this section, for example the participant names. Instead, refer to people by their role in the activity, for example the participant or the leader. I will now enter an appropriate incident description for our example incident. Notice how much information has been included, even about things that occurred before the incident, such as the non-completion of the medical history form and the related gap in procedures. Refer to the help icon for hints about what to include in your description. Once you have entered the description, the next two sections ask you to analyse the incident and provide information about why you think the incident happened. The incident report asks you to identify and describe the contributory factors and relationships between them that may have contributed to the incident. The goal is not to assign blame, but to identify how factors from across the LED outdoor activity system combine to create incidents. Contributory factors include any decisions, actions, events, omissions, or conditions that could have contributed to the incident occurring. This includes the decisions and actions of everyone in the system, for example managers, schools, parents, peak bodies and government, not just leaders and participants. The app provides a comprehensive list of contributory factors that have been identified as playing a role in incident causation. To complete this section, move through each of the headings and select the factors that have contributed to the incident, and then describe how these factors contributed to the incident. So the first heading we come to is Activity, Resources and Environment. Click the checkbox to view the type of contributory factors under this heading. Resources refer to equipment and clothing, documentation, food or drink, and medication factor types. Environment refers to animals, insects, facilities, terrain, trees, vegetation, water, and the weather factor types. Ask yourself, did any of these factors contribute to this incident? In our incident, none of these factors contributed. So we move on to the next heading, People directly involved in the incident. Here we ask ourselves, did anyone involved in the activity play a role in the incident? Again, click on the checkbox to view a list of people and factors that could have contributed. In our example, the leader's lack of knowledge about the teacher's pre-existing injury contributed to this incident. Therefore, we select Leader and Knowledge from the pop-up menu, and then describe how this factor played a role. Leaders were not aware of the teacher's pre-existing injury. Also, the teacher contributed to this incident as they exceeded their capabilities and had a pre-existing injury. As the teacher was a supervisor during this activity, we select Supervisor from the list and click on Mental and Physical from the pop-up menu. Then describe how this factor played a role. The teacher exceeded his capabilities as they were unable to walk long distances and became exhausted. They also had a pre-existing back injury. Continue to move through the list in this fashion until you are satisfied that all contributory factors have been identified. For our example, we also identified the following factors. Under Activity Program Design, we select Suitability because the activity was not suitable for the teacher's pre-existing injury or capability. Under Management, we select Policies and Procedures because there was no procedures for collecting medical forms off supervisors coming onto program. And finally, under Schools, we select Communication because the school did not inform the activity provider about the teacher's pre-existing injury. If you do not believe that there were any relevant contributory factors associated with the incident, you can click on the No Factors button to continue to the next section. The Interactions section asks you to describe how the contributory factors that you have identified interact together to create LOA incidents. An interaction between two contributory factors is present when one factor influences the other by either creating, enabling, facilitating, strengthening, or weakening it. For example, an absence of training on how to demonstrate campcraft activities is related to the activity leader's poor demonstration of campcraft activity. A failure of a parent to inform the activity provider about the dietary needs of their child is related to their child being given inappropriate food on camp. To identify interactions, move through the list of contributory factors that you have identified and ask yourself, did this factor interact with, influence, or was influenced by another factor you have identified? If it does, click on the link button and select which factor it interacts with. You are then asked to describe how the factors interacted. The first factor we come to is leader's knowledge. Did the leader's knowledge interact with, influence, or was influenced by another factor? Had the leader known about the teacher's pre-existing injury, they could have adjusted the program design to make it more suitable for the teacher's capabilities. Therefore, we linked leader knowledge to activity program design suitability. We then described the interactions. The leaders did not know about the teacher's pre-existing injury, therefore did not adjust the activity to suit the teacher's needs. Continue this process for the remaining factors until you are satisfied that all interactions have been identified. It's important to note that sometimes you may identify supervisor knowledge and leader knowledge as contributory factors. In these instances, knowledge will display twice in the pop-up menu. The app provides the contributory factors heading and your description of the factor to help you select the correct factor from the list. If leader's knowledge interacted with more than one factor, click on the link button again and link another factor. The following interactions were also identified for this example. Management policies and procedures interacted with schools communication because there was no procedure for collecting medical forms from supervisors coming onto program. And also schools communication interacted with leader knowledge because the school did not communicate to the activity provider about the teacher's pre-existing injury. Therefore, the leaders were not aware of the injury. After you have clicked the Save button, your incident report will be saved into the system or will be saved ready to upload when you reconnect with Wi-Fi. You can come back and edit the incident report at any time. The Uploads team has developed a range of training videos with detailed information about writing incident descriptions, identifying contributory factors, and interactions between factors for the full range of incident types. This includes injuries, illnesses, near misses, equipment damage, psychosocial, and missing people. To view these videos, visit the Uploads Project website and navigate to the Training Materials section. Depending on your allocated role within the Uploads app, you can either mark the incident report as complete or assign it for further review. So reporters must assign the incident report for further review, and administrators and supervisors can either mark the incident report as complete or assign it for further review. If you are assigned a report, you need to check it for accuracy and add additional information about contributory factors and interactions. When you mark an incident report as complete, you'll be asked to submit a de-identified version of the report to the National Incident Dataset, the NID. You can elect not to submit your data by unselecting the checkbox. It is important to note that incomplete incident reports will not be included in your organization's analysis reports shown in the Explore section. So please complete your incident reports to ensure your organization is getting a complete and comprehensive overview of the incidents that are occurring in your organization. A to-do list has been provided on the app's home screen to help you keep track of any incident reports you have entered or have been assigned to you. You'll be sent an email every month to remind you to complete any outstanding incident reports. This brings us to the end of Part 2 for the essential training for incident reporters. Please continue to Part 3 for information about how to set up your smart device to use the Uploads app without internet access.